Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Hey everyone, so happy you can join us for the Love Everyone podcast.
With your hosts, Govind Das and Rama Chandra Das.
A conversation of love, devotion, and walking the path of Bhakti Yoga.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Love Everyone podcast.
Ram, dear friends, episode number 4. It is episode number 4, right?
Yeah, I believe so. 4 sounds right. 4 sounds right. So it's great to see you, Govind Das. I've been missing you on the Hanuman Chalisa sadhana. We had a little break, but you just got back from seeing your family, right?
Yup. Just got back late last night from Florida, seeing my parents. It was my mom's 80th birthday, and it was really, really wonderful, and a lot of time on the tennis court and in that beautiful blue water there in South Florida. Got to see Krishna Das. He did an event down in Miami Beach. I didn't see him there, but I did get to see him for a workshop in Delray Beach, which was amazing. And I got to experience fully Ram Dass's great quote: if you think you're enlightened, go hang out with your family for a week.
Yeah. Do you have any revelations about yourself?
Yes, I'm not enlightened.
I could have told you that.
I already knew it.
We just got a little reinforcement, huh?
Yeah, we need those reinforcements, though.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. So, do you remember that time? When we came down, 10 years ago or whatever, and did your yoga teacher training in LA, and it was like day one, and we were sitting around in the circle, and you were talking about gurus, and you were talking about Neem Karoli Baba, and there was that one young lady that was sitting off to your right, and she said, "So, Govindas, are you a guru?" And you said, "No, I'm not. Ask my wife." And she never came back. She left the class. She must have paid and everything. It was not cheap. Anyway, and she never came back. We never saw her again. She was looking for a guru.
She was let down.
She was looking for a guru, and and you came right out and said it. But now, knowing what I know about these things these days, I would venture to say that probably like a real guru will answer in that exact way. Not to say that you're a real guru.
I'm not a real Although, and I know this sounds really, really weird, I actually sitting with Krishna Das at this workshop, and I know he would probably really hate to hear me say this.
Okay, well, let's make sure he doesn't listen to this episode.
I felt like I was sitting in the presence of a great being, like a truly, like just an ocean of wisdom, and a mountain of love and grace, just being around him. And I know he would say, I'm just trying to save my sorry ass, as he says over and over and over again, but just being in his presence and hearing his Dharma talks, it was just unwinding so many things in my own mind where I was stuck. And I think that's what the guru does, right? Guru, dark light, remove darkness, remove ignorance, reveals the light, the love.
And I feel like with KD is that there's like, it's Neem Karoli Baba, and he would say this is like coming through.
Yeah.
But again, that's what we talked about a few weeks ago, polishing the mirror so that guru can shine through, and he's just been polishing that mirror for a long time.
He really has. He really has. And he's had such deep associations, in Bhakti. We talk about, as important as ever, is the people that we hang out with. And he always said devotion is contagious. You get it from people who have it. and he spent time with so many great beings, and had such a, what seems like such a close, intimate relationship with Maharaji as well too, that he got it from those that have it, and he's really sharing it, you know. And what's so funny is that it's hidden in this kind of New York persona, and fuck you, shit, fuck this. I mean, I heard more cuss words in that 3 hours than I've probably heard all in 2024. You know, I mean, it was all, every other word was fuck, shit, you know, all of it. And so, but I guess that's how Maharaji was, right? They called him the latrine Baba, not because he hung out in bathrooms, because his mouth was so
Yeah, he was
from the filthy of like a toilet.
he was bad mash, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Guess
wow.
what? There was this restaurant that's just where we're staying here in Venice Beach. New restaurant open called Badmash, Indian restaurant.
Really?
Yeah,
Does,
I gotta go in there.
does it does it mean what I think it means?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
I think
funny.
it's like rascal, right? Like it means rascal.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But a rascal probably uses a lot of curse words,
Yeah,
don't you think? I don't know.
yeah,
Why
well,
not?
I got busted, right? That once I
You did.
on our Hanuman Chalisa, we had this beautiful
Yeah.
Indian woman in our Chalisa, and I said shit once in our reflections, and boy, did I get a message, and I heard
Yeah.
it, and she never came back after that. I don't think.
Well, this is a pattern.
I know, right? I can
You keep saying
push
the wrong
people away.
keep saying the wrong thing.
Uh,
Oh, well, you know, the people who are meant to be there, they're gonna be there, and the
I
people
know.
so that's good. You know, I was thinking about association. You just mentioned that, and you know what I've been going through a lot the last, week or two is seeing so many of my friends in India right now.
Mm,
Are you feeling that at all? And
yeah,
the
yeah.
Rishikesh Kirtan Festival is
Oh,
going
yeah.
on, the Kumbh Mela is going on, the International Yoga Festival is about to start. I'm seeing like friends in Ayodhya and seeing
Yeah,
friends in Varanasi, and I'm seeing friends dancing to Kirtan in Rishikesh.
yeah.
And oh my gosh, I'm trying to avoid the FOMO feeling, but it's coming on strong, because I love it there so much.
Yeah, it's home. It's home.
There's so much going on right now
It's our
too.
spiritual home.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
But I think being away from it actually makes it that much sweeter when we can get back once a year as well, too.
Oh, for sure. Well, I feel spoiled. I was there twice last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that was I think I could do that every year.
Yeah, I'll be there twice this year, which I'm
Oh,
excited
yeah,
about.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You'll be
First
there
time going to
June.
Govardhan Eco Village, which I've never been to, and
Mm,
everybody, raves about it, and so excited to be going there. And I'm not sure if Radhanath Swami will be there, but
mm.
um,
What's it like there in June? It's gonna be hot,
it's before
rainy.
it's monsoon season has started, so it's not that hot. High 80s, not 110 like a month before,
Mm.
and rainy, but monsoon, beginning of monsoon apparently. Now, what do I know? Is rain and then sun, and then
Oh,
rain and then sun. So we'll see though.
yeah.
See.
It's always beautiful to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, you'll let us know. I'm sure
Yeah.
you'll be reporting back
From the field.
from the field, from the field.
From the Bhakti field.
Oh man, the field. You be the field and I'll be the knower.
The knower, the field of love.
The knower in the field. All right. Well,
Should we dive in?
I don't know. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay.
We do our opening prayers.
Sure, let's do it. Again, these are some shlokas from the Guru Stotram. And of course, if you ever want to follow along, you can just type it in on Guru Google, and you will get these words. Om Akandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Salutations to the Guru, who revealed to me the supreme truth, which is unfragmented, infinite, timeless divinity, and which pervades the entire universe.
Jnana Timirandasya Yana Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Salutations to the Guru, who opened my eyes, which had been blinded by the darkness of ignorance, by applying the divine ointment of self-knowledge.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha.
Guru is the creator, sustainer, and the destroyer. Guru is directly the supreme spirit, both manifest reality and the absolute. My reverential salutations to the glorious Guru, who resides in the hearts of all beings as the true self.
Hari Om. Bolo Shri Satgurudev Baba Neem Karoli Santa Maharaj Ki.
Jai.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram.
All right. So back here at the Love Everyone podcast, where we spent some time just reflecting on what it's like to be on this path of Bhakti Yoga. And both Govindas and I, we spend a lot of time chanting the Hanuman Chalisa. We spent a lot of time studying the Hanuman Chalisa. We spent a lot of time thinking about the Hanuman Chalisa. And so those of you that have been tuning in so far, you know that this is where we introduce a line from the Hanuman Chalisa and offer some reflections on it and see where that takes the conversation. So today is the first chopai. So we've been looking at some of the introductory lines, and of which there are the two intro dohas, they're called. And now we dive into the 40 verses that are called chopais that make up the 40 verses that refers to the word chalisa, which is a word that essentially means chalisa. So for those of you that don't know, there are other chalisas, not just the Hanuman Chalisa. There's a Ganesha Chalisa and a Durga Chalisa. There's even a Chalisa to Neem Karoli Baba. And they're all 40 verse prayers. So let's look at this first chopai. The translation is victory to Hanuman, ocean of wisdom and virtue. Victory to the monkey lord, illuminator of the three worlds. And the Avadi Hindi goes like this. Jaya Hanuman, Jnana Guna Sagara, Jaya Kapisha, Tihun Loka Ujagara. Once again, it translates as victory to Hanuman, ocean of wisdom and virtue. Hail to the monkey lord, illuminator of the three worlds. All right, so why don't you start us off, Govindas?
Right. First thing I think, I'm not sure if you mentioned this or not, but remember we were chanting and reflecting on the dohas the last couple sessions. And the dohas are these introductory lines. We get to this line 1, and these as the body of the Chalisa, 40 verses, Chalisa. These verses are called chopais. Each individual line is called a chopai. So this is chopai number 1, as Ramachandra Das just spoke about. And I think very similar to the first doha, the first 2 words of the doha were Shri Guru. And I believe I reflected, like, it's not a mistake. Like, here we are, the opening of these dohas, Shri Guru, honoring the Guru. Well, here we are, the very first verse of the Hanuman Chalisa. And the first 2 words are Jaya Hanuman. Now, many of us have been brought to bhakti or been brought to the Chalisa through kirtan, and this word Jay or Jaya or Jai or Jaya, we hear so frequently, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, or, you know, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Radhe, or Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Jai Kali Ma. So this word Jaya is victory, is hail to, is all glories to. And here in this Chalisa, of course, Tulsidas is saying, Jaya Hanuman, Hanuman. And Hanuman is this incarnation of Lord Shiva who has come to serve Lord Ram on his mission of defeating Ravana and restoring Dharma in the 3 worlds. And Hanuman is a monkey, is a Vanara. This is what he incarnates as. From Lord Shiva, he incarnates as a monkey. But he's no ordinary monkey, as we know. Tulsidas goes to say that he's an ocean. I love this. This part really sticks out to me in this first verse, is that he's an ocean of wisdom and virtue. And when we think of an ocean, we go sit out on the beach, and it's so vast. Not only is it as vast as we can see to the horizon with our eyes, but think of how deep as well too. They say as tall as any mountain is on this planet, as high up, think of Mount Everest, the ocean goes even that much. And I believe they even say even deeper than that. So endless ocean. That's what Hanuman is, an embodiment of wisdom and virtue. And when I think of wisdom, he knows, he's like this all-knowing being. But it's not just he knows it up here. It's Gyan is like experiential wisdom, that he knows it in his being, that I remember I was just talking about Krishna Das. It's like when he speaks, I felt like just there's this experiential wisdom. He's not just sharing it from something he's read in a book, but he's got it in his bones. And that's what Hanumanji is. This divine embodiment of all knowingness. He knows everything about the future, the past, the present, about everything in the world, but also he's got spiritual knowledge as well too. Meaning his knowledge of the divine is, he studied the Vedas. He studied with Surya, his guru, but he knows in his heart about God. And I think this is really key here, that, and what because he knows what he's showing us is how to live with devotion, how to live He's pointing us in the direction. He knows everything. And what he's pointing us in the direction, live in devotion and live in service and live in humility. And this is the path. It's a little bit different than classical yoga, where we're trying to do it ourselves. We're trying to get enlightened. We're trying to lift our energies. This path of bhakti is very different. I think we've talked about it. We're just putting our hands out and just fill me with your grace, oh Lord.
Mm.
I'm going to not try to be the master. I'm going to live like Hanuman as the servant of Sri Ram. He has all of the wisdom. He's an all-knowing being. And what he's saying, that the path is actually to live in service
Mm.
and to live in humility and to live, as we say here, with guna, with virtue. And when we think of virtue, compassion, loving kindness, truth, honesty, surrender, and on and on. So, but this is what I'm getting. Like he's all knowing, and what's he telling us to do? Remember last week. Don't try to figure it out.
Mm.
Just love God and serve God with all your heart.
You know what I love about this moment here is that Tulsidas this is the first thing that basically Hanuman is he's sharing about Hanuman. Tulsidas, Hanuman has so many superpowers. Hanuman is invincible. He can fly, he can leap across the ocean, he can make himself small, he can make himself big. He can fly all the way to the sun if he wants. I mean, there's nothing that Hanuman can't do. And and he's also impeccably beautiful. Tulsidas is going to tell us about that later. And Hanuman can do so many things for us. All of these qualities. And what does Tulsidas choose to mention first? His wisdom and his goodness.
Mm.
His wisdom and his goodness are like his most notable features out of all the things that he can do, all the accomplishments that he's been involved in, all of those things. And Tulsidas says it's his wisdom. And as you said, this gyan is this deeper wisdom than just knowing things in your mind, as you said, but knowing things in your heart. And that wisdom ultimately, Hanuman knows that the wisest thing that he can do is to serve God.
Mm.
The wisest thing, the best decision, the best path forward is to serve the divine.
Mm.
That's the ultimate wisdom. And Hanuman and Tulsidas reveal it to us here in this first line. And then I was just thinking about this word virtue. Sometimes it kind of has like a religious tone to it or something like this, like you got to be virtuous, like being a good person is like some kind of, you're making some kind of like, you're sacrificing some better life or something, right? Do you ever get that? It's like,
I do, yes.
yeah, it's like,
It's
oh,
like an
well,
old word, right? Like the world now does not want to hear virtue, right?
yeah, we don't want to hear about virtue. I want to party,
Yeah.
you know,
Put your party pants on.
put your party pants on and leave your virtue at the door, And so I think I think I think it's time, though. Something that it's word, it reminds me of the word values as well
Yeah.
too. Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
something that I think about a lot is how we used to like having values, right? Used to feel like that was like a good thing. And I feel like now values and value, like worth, monetary worth, have gotten confused.
Mm.
It's this expression that I have always found to be so confusing is when people say, hey, I'm sorry, don't take it personally, it's just business. What does that mean? Does that mean I can treat you like shit if it's in the name of making a buck? Of course, I can lie to you, or I can tell you that my product is better than it really is, or I can go behind your back, or I can steal your clients. But hey, man, it's cool. It's just business. And I think I think it's time, and not to sound like, an old fashioned curmudgeon who's like, we got to get back to our values, but I think we really do. And the gunas and the virtues that we're talking about with Hanuman are the ones like that you mentioned: honesty, compassion, humility, goodness. When did these things turn into like dirty words?
Yeah.
Like, why is honesty such a, you know, why are we okay not being honest with each other?
And there's another word too, is respect.
Ah,
I'm thinking about Hanuman. Even with Ravana, he had such respect
mm,
for Ravana.
hmm
And in this world, it's like, you have to earn my respect instead of
yes,
just seeing. I think this goes back to the love everyone theme here, that you're another spirit soul.
yeah,
So I must respect you,
that's beautiful. Mm,
must respect you. That's where, you know, that it's interesting. I was having just sort of this conversation with my son the other day, and I was trying to impart this kind of stuff in him at 14.
mm,
There's so many good moments. And I was just trying to share with him how whoever is in front of you, and I was trying to share, like, this is the most important thing I can teach you, is whoever is in front of you in your life, treat them like they're the most important person in the entire world.
mm,
And if you can do that, goodness will just follow you the rest of your life, whoever is in front of you. And it's easy to not do that, to think, this is ego. I'm better than them, or they're not worthy, or why should I respect them? But whoever's right in front of you,
mm,
they're the most important word. And when you think about it, I think from this path, it's true. Whoever is in front of you is
mm.
just God in form.
Well, and as you like to mention all the time, is that we're in the perfect place all the time. So if you are being challenged by whoever is in front of you, then this is a golden opportunity. This is a golden opportunity. A couple of Ram Dass quotes coming up. One is that everyone you meet is God in drag.
Mm,
I love that one.
that's it. That's
Right?
it. That's it.
And that it's all grist for the mill. Meaning that everything is an opportunity, for us uh to dive deeper into our hearts.
Yeah. It's all a part of our curriculum, right? As he says, our curriculum for awakening. Every moment, every experience.
Yeah. And our karma has led us to all these moments, to any moment that we experience, whatever person is in front of us, whatever circumstances have arisen. This is all part of our karma, and our karma is our dharma, as he
Mm.
says as well. And so this is our purpose. This is our path. So being with that person in front of us is how it was meant to be. And of course, this is not easy. when the person in front of you is a real jerk, you know?
But they're being a jerk for us, right?
Yeah, thank
For
you.
us.
You
For
say
oh,
thank
thank
you.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
You
Thank
are
you.
helping me develop my compassion and love.
I had a friend who used to play. He was Slash's replacement in Guns N' Roses,
Oh.
and he was playing guitar. Amazing guitar player. And then he played with Nine Inch Nails for a long time. And this guy's like a rock star. But I met him at Agape International Spiritual Center, and he was the sweetest guy. I mean, I swear to God, he was like a modern Jesus or something. He has long hair, and he was so sweet. And then suddenly, when he told me, kind of blew my mind because I didn't know who he was when I met him. And it's just this sweet guy with these soft eyes and this long, flowing, beautiful hair. And then he said, "Oh yeah, I play guitar in Guns N' Roses." My head exploded, and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy. That is what is it? What's Axl Rose like?" You know, 'Cause I just seeing this guy, and we were like on a men's retreat or something, at the Agape from the Agape Spiritual Center, and we were all just sitting around being spiritual and loving to each other. So, what's it like being around Axl Rose? And he said, "Axl Rose is my greatest teacher."
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it.
And that was his sweet, respectful, honest way of saying, it's hard, it's challenging.
Oh, that's his statement of where his consciousness is,
It was, to me, it was
right?
like, wow, and I was looking like from at that point too, is when I first was getting into it. Like,
Yeah,
and I was like looking up at him, on the hill because
yeah.
it felt like his consciousness was so high.
He could have very easily said, Axl Rose is such a dick, man. I can't
Yeah,
stand that
he
guy.
could have launched into some
Right,
gossip. Or,
right.
and I know, and for me, certainly at that time in my life, if it had been me, I would have been like, "Oh, well, yesterday, blah blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah," and gone into some woe is me gossipy story about the jerk move that he'd made, and but not at all, just without missing a beat.
Yeah.
He said, "Axl Rose is my greatest teacher," and I was like, "Ah."
Mm.
And now you're teaching me. You're teaching me, and I still feel like it's a high place, and I know my consciousness doesn't always even get close to residing in that place, and I keep praying. I keep praying for myself.
There's something I wanted to share with when we were talking about this. It just popped up. You said the very first word after Jaya Hanuman is Gyan. And I remember it just popped right into my head as you were talking. We've both had the blessings of sitting with Vanamali Ma in Rishikesh. And we were asking her about the Bhagavad Gita once. And she said, wisdom comes first before bhakti.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the way it's laid out in the Gita,
Yes.
that before you have devotion, you have to have some gyan, you have to have understanding, a deeper understanding of even who or why you would have bhakti towards something or
Yeah.
someone. So he's got that gyan, he's got that wisdom, he's got that knowledge of who he is, and he's got that knowledge of who Sri Ram is as well too. And from that's where his bhakti naturally emerges.
You know what else she said about that? She said that bhakti without gyan is fundamentalism.
Yeah, I've heard her say that.
Yeah. Without the wisdom, without the knowledge, because like the knowledge, part of the knowledge is like sabek, right? And it's all one. And if I'm completely devoted to Hanuman, but I think that I don't understand that Hanuman is Shiva and that Shiva worships Ram and that Ram worships Shiva, and I don't understand sub ek, then I'm going to be caught in the trap of thinking that Hanuman is the only way. And you see this in all religions. This trap opens up and swallows so many practitioners of Christianity, of Islam, and even what's interesting is that even Hinduism, um, where the core of the Vedas, we've mentioned this before, but one of the lines from the Vedas is that God has many, many names, but that God is one, and wise people refer to God in different ways. And this is, if without this, you really can't practice devotion in the way that the Bhagavad Gita is recommending practicing devotion, because you'll be too caught. You won't understand.
I think for me that our regular study of the Chalisa and our endless journeys through all 40 lines has helped to, I think, not myself, but all of us who we've been walking this path together, has, as we learn about Hanuman, as we learn about his Leelas, as we learn about Sri Ram and Mother Sita, it's developed our wisdom. But the symptom that's come from that is, or the manifestation of that is, the deepening of love for God, the bhakti arising within. So I think I'm thinking about that one, and I'm thinking as well too, like the Hanuman Chalisa, just to chant it by itself is great, but without the study of it, maybe there's something that's missing. And I was also thinking about so many of our dear brothers in the ISKCON and sisters in the ISKCON movement as well too. And along with chanting the Maha Mantra, there's the deep study of Bhagavad Gita. So you know who Krishna is. You have an association with Krishna as you're chanting the Maha Mantra as well too. So I think there's really something about, I don't think we've ever really talked about this jnana, this first word, jnana, being so important like this.
Yeah, well, it's, that's the most beautiful thing about this practice of studying the Hanuman Chalisa, is that what we've done now, 21, 22 rounds of the Hanuman Chalisa. So we've visited this line 21 times. And here we are having an even deeper realization of what Tulsidas is offering. And that is a beautiful way to even express this. Not only is Hanuman an ocean, but the Chalisa itself is an ocean, an endless well of wisdom and knowledge and learning and teachings, and we just continue to like peel the layers off, and it gets deeper and deeper, but it doesn't seem to have any ending in sight.
And I think something that's really for both of us always so important, and is like what's the prescription? How is this relative to just living as a human being in modern day world? And I think something was just peeled back here, that Hanuman is pointing us, that with everything he knows, he's pointing us to love God and serve God as the highest path that we can walk as a human being.
To me, there's also this prescription that we've just been talking about, which is this balance concept, and this understanding that it's not about like, oh, I'm gonna just be a Gyan yogi, or I'm just gonna be a a bhakta, or I'm just going to be a karma yogi, you know, because look at the Bhagavad Gita, like it works its way through the whole thing, and then you see this beautiful blend and balance of it, and it reminds me of the story uh, with Krishna, and he had a friend named Uddhava, and he was a great jnani. And there's actually a Uddhava Gita, which is another Gita that's this is Krishna's conversation right before he leaves his body. I believe that the setting is that he's already been shot by the arrow that is the arrow that kills him, and Uddhava comes to him, and before he perishes, he relates this wisdom. But it's right at the end of his life, whether it's before the arrow or after the arrow, I can't quite remember. But it's another beautiful book. But that Uddhava was a jnani yogi, and he was just fully ensconced in the wisdom. And the gopis, on the other hand, who were the milkmaids in Vrindavan, where Krishna was from, were just 100% bhakti, 100%, like literally blind devotion. And Krishna said to Uddhava, he said, go to Vrindavan and teach them Gyan, the gopis. And while you're there, learn bhakti from the gopis. Mm-hmm. And so Krishna wanted Uddhava to have more bhakti, and he wanted the gopis to have more gyan. Mm. And I think that so this concept, because we know Hanuman has the bhakti, right? I mean, like everything Hanuman does is out of desire to serve. And then this is also the karma yoga as well. So the prescription to me is that we have to be all of these things. And even we know that Hanuman was even a great like practitioner of asana and things like this, that we even have to keep our bodies strong. We even have to do the physical yoga. So we have to do the devotional yoga. We have to do the physical yoga. We have to do the service. We have to do the service. Because without the service, what is even the point? Point is just becomes purely egotistical at that point. Me. And then we also have to have the wisdom and study the scriptures and learn about the deeper meanings behind the yogic teachings. So we have to do all of these things. And I think that's, I mean, to me, that's being revealed right here in this first chopai.
Beautiful, beautiful. Should we move on?
Should we move on? Yeah, you want to move on to our LSD hit of the day?
LSD hit of the day. What does that mean? The love, service, devotion hit of the day.
We call this the OG LSD. The original LSD, baby.
Take your hit, everyone. Every day. Take multiple hits.
Take as many hits as you can handle. That's what I say. Take as many hits as you can handle. I wonder if when Maharaji popped all that LSD in his mouth, that he had just, it was already just love, service, devotion by the time it hit his tongue. So he was so high already.
That's why it didn't affect him.
It didn't even affect him.
I mean, maybe people don't know the story, but Maharaji said to Ram Das, you have medicine, give me the medicine. And Ram Das thought it was like he wanted a Tylenol or something like this for he had a headache. And
no,
he
the
said,
yogi
no, give me the yogi medicine. And then someone hit me. I think he means the LSD. And so he gave him a hit, and Maharaji said, more. And what did he end up taking? Like 400 micrograms or something like this.
Yeah.
A massive amount.
Enough to get like an elephant high.
Yeah, a massive amount. And it just, like, he was already there.
Yeah.
didn't even affect his consciousness at all.
Baffling. Yeah.
Ram Dass, he was playing tricks on him, like hiding him under his blanket, and then he would like peek out under
Mm.
his blanket.
Well, I like the longer version of that story. Includes that he asked him for the yogi medicine and he took it and nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then like Ram Dass was so confused that he started thinking in his mind, like later that day or the next day, he started thinking in his mind, he was like, maybe he just like threw it over his shoulder or like he didn't actually take the medicine. And so he spent a few days kind of like spinning out in his mind, thinking that Maharaji had deceived him somehow. And so then one day they were sitting in satsang and Maharaji looked at Ram Dass and said, come over here. And he knew what Ram Dass was thinking because he said, give me some more of that medicine. And so he brought him, more of the medicine and he went like this with the pill. He went and he put it right on his tongue. Right in, he like looked him right in the eye and he put it right on his tongue. And then he swallowed it and he opened his mouth again because he knew. He's like, okay, so I gotta like really draw this out to make Ram Dass understand. But then he started playing the games, like being underneath the blanket and then making googly eyes at him and stuff, and then going right back to satsang.
Yeah.
And it's great. So
you ever done LSD?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like how you said that. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's been a long time.
There was like a
It's been a long time. It's been a long time. I remember I remember though once when I was down at the Bhakti Yoga Shala for a Monday night kirtan with you, and you came up to me afterwards and hey, you know what just happened? I said, what? He said, somebody just left a donation in the box. I was like, okay, it's 4 hits of acid. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. I said, are you going to take it? And he said, I just don't have the time.
No. Did you take it? Did I give it to you?
No, you didn't give it to me.
I
No.
should have given it to you.
No, I don't have that kind of time anymore either. My God. Yeah. But no, anyway, but this is the kind of LSD I'm into these days.
Yeah.
The love, service, and devotion kind, and honestly, the hangover is way better. Non-existent actually. Although I was pretty hungover from my Shivratri kirtan on Tuesday night. Wednesday morning was pretty slow going. But love, service, and devotion is definitely my preference. Have you ever taken LSD in the
yeah. Oh yeah. Wait, how did you say it? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I have taken mushrooms much more.
For sure.
My last time I took LSD, I was hanging out with this girl up in UC Davis, and we took 15 hits.
What?
Yeah, 15 hits of just pure liquid. And we just did kirtan, and we were in a hot tub and kirtan and hot tub kirtan and but what I noticed, it got me to a certain place and nothing happened anymore. After that first or second wave, it just
Well, 15 hits,
can't
so
get any higher.
What were you thinking?
We wanted to get higher, but it just didn't work anymore. But yeah, I loved it. I did it maybe 5 other times.
Yeah.
And I really love, mushrooms were like a little bit more in the body.
Yeah, much preferred.
Boy, LSD was like that third eye just opening up, deep, insightful.
They say if you take more than 7 hits of LSD in your entire lifetime, that you're clinically insane.
I am insane. I lost it years and decades ago. And I think you're insane too. I think that's the only reason we could even do a podcast like this.
I don't think I've taken over 7. I think I stopped at like 6 3/4.
Just in case. Just in case. I don't want to be legally insane.
I definitely don't want to be legally insane. As opposed to illegally insane.
What I know about you, you are insane. You're a madman.
Maybe I took
You're
it.
a divine madman.
Maybe I crossed the line. I didn't keep count, but I didn't do 15.
In one sitting.
Not even.
But, you know,
Probably not even in my whole life.
I would do it again too. I would. If we had a day or two just to hang out, we'll be old men. We'll just say, hey, remember that podcast we were talking about? Look what I got. We're hanging out on the beach in Maui or something like that.
We'll be hanging out. It'll be after our 8 a.m. sadhana on Zoom. We'll be like, hey, what are you doing for the rest of the day?
I would like to do this stuff, but as I mentioned, for years being a parent, I just don't have I just don't have time. Everything's so filled up. Like, gotta make lunches for the kid. They get home at school at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. It's like I need another day to just process it and integrate it. And
this is interesting though. It's making me think of this because the last few times that I've taken mushrooms, it's like a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
But nothing like the first times.
Yeah. Maybe you didn't do enough.
Maybe.
Maybe you need the macro heroes.
Yeah, or maybe, my consciousness has opened up so much that when I took it the first few times, it was such a revelation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, like you shed so much.
That since then, and with all my work, I was just thinking about Neem Karoli Baba taking all those hits of acid. Now I don't think I'm anywhere near that point. I think if I popped 400 milligrams of acid, I would be feeling. Whoa! I would be feeling it. Whoa. I would be feeling it. But maybe on a more subtle level. And maybe I just needed to take more. I don't know. But it's like been slowly progress. And it's not like I'm using so much that there's like a tolerance issue, because this is every couple of years or even less, like there's like so much time between but the last, I don't know, decade, every time I've taken it, it's just been kind of like a mild, experience. And, definitely feel the energy of it, I feel the mushrooms in my system, but not like anything like those first few times. So
when you just unwind, everything is unwinding.
It's like the world is not
conditioning and things you've believed, stories you believe to be true. It just starts falling away like that. Never be the same again.
It was that was the first moment for me when I knew that like there's so much more going on than I think there is.
Me too. And interesting though, like I felt that and I got that so deep, and I felt oneness. I felt the interconnectedness of everything. But it was only when and it was probably one of the top moments of my life, when those first mushroom experiences, but it was only when somebody handed me my first Ram Dass cassette and I put it in, and within the first minute of hearing it, I knew that this is what I had been looking for my whole life. This the deepest knowing, like this is what I've been searching for. And then you ask, well, it's Ram Dass? No, it's not Ram Dass. It's Maharaji coming through Ram Dass, right?
Well, what did Maharaji say to Ram Dass about the medicine? That it will take you into the room with Jesus, but then you're going to have to leave again. So it's so much better to try to figure out how to get the full access pass. And that's what the practice, I think, of bhakti is.
Yeah. And I think that's what Hanumanji, the Gyan, the ultimate wisdom.
So let's
Yeah,
take a
bhakti.
dose of
The
LSD.
Gyan is saying bhakti.
Yes, that's it. Yes, wisdom is saying surrender to God.
And
And
then once you get the bhakti, you say, I just want to read more about God,
yeah,
and I want to
sure.
study more, and I want to hear more. So
All of it.
they're like, they just dance with each other. The
You want to
bhakti
talk
movement.
about God. You want to read about God. You want to hear about God. You want to sing about God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, should we take a hit?
Let's take a hit. Let's
Let's
take
take
a
a hit at
hit.
the same time and see what happens. All right. This is from Mirabai. Mirabai was a
Let's
great.
make sure we take the same amount too.
Yeah. Okay. Same micrograms. This Mirabai was a great saint that was born into being a princess and going to
Mm,
be the queen, but then she just left everything
mm,
she just left the kingdom and started wandering barefoot through India, singing love songs to her beloved Sri Krishna.
mm,
She says, I do not know how to pray. I do not know how to worship. I only know that I have fallen in love with my heart. All I know is that I have fallen in love with my Lord, and my heart is His.
mm,
One more time. I do not know how to pray. I do not know how to worship. I only know that I have fallen in love with my Lord, and my heart is His. By the great saint, Bhakti Saint
mm,
Mirabai. Any thoughts on that?
mm. Well, I just feel for one, I feel like a sense of kind of relief when I hear something like that coming from the mouth of a saint, because I don't I've prayed a lot, but I don't I guess I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't, like I think about all the times when I go to like a temple in India and they're doing some like elaborate puja or something. And we just did this like 3 hour long uh, Maha Shiva puja last time we were in India. And I had no idea most of the time what was happening. But I was so open to the experience and it's just so open to um, just making it an expression of my love for Shiva and the practices of yoga and all the things that I've learned over the years. And I was really able to drop into it, but yet I was at the same time my mind was like, what's happening? Like I don't like that's like I don't know how to worship. Do you know? Like that's what kind of what it felt like she's saying there. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not necessarily doing the proper formalities. So I don't know any of these mantras. I mean, it was amazing. This guy was going by memory and he did this like literally 90-minute prayer, like at top breakneck speed. It's like it was like a Chalisa, like times 100 in length. And and I was completely astounded and I had no idea, like on one level, what was going on. Although, of course, I've been around it and long enough now that I recognize moments, and there were moments where I felt like, oh yeah, I know what's happening now. But then we just like drop back into like total like confusion about what's really happening. But but I was still able to step outside of that mental question mark and like it was the greatest 3 hours. I felt so liberated and uplifted afterwards. I just skipped back to the retreat center that we were staying at. And I was like, I don't know what happened, but something happened.
Mhm.
I have no idea what happened. And I don't know if I'll ever know what happened, but I do know something happened. You know, and anyway, so I really, and when I hear stuff from like that from someone like a saint who's just like, listen, I just know how to love, you know, it gives me a lot of uh you know, it kind of helps encourage me to keep going.
Hmm. Hmm.
What about you, Baba?
You know, there's so many different kinds of people in the world, and different people have different tendencies. You know, even as they say, that sometimes the mental people are more drawn to um, study and scriptural study and these types of things, and the people like the physical people want to do like more kundalini type of practices and maybe asana and these types of things. And then there's these other people that are through time that have just been called bhaktas, right? This they're lovers of God, they're mystic lovers of the divine, and they've been in every tradition in in across the planet's history. They're the mystics, and the message of the mystics is you just love God with all your heart, with all your soul. There's Christian mystics, there's Muslim mystics, there's Jewish mystics, there's Hindu mystics, and these mystics have just been lovers of God. And Mirabai, you can just see her like wandering with like an ektar or a little drum or some simple instrument, barefoot and maybe a little disheveled. And you've been to India so many times too. You see people like this. They're drunk. They're drunk on love with the divine, and nothing else really matters except wanting to express their love, their poetry, their songs, through their voice, through the way they live, the way they walk, the way they live is just everything. Their whole life is just turned to into an offering of that love for their beloved. And Mirabai is recognized as one of those greatest saints in history that just left everything. And her story is so great because she had it all. She had all the riches of the kingdom and all the power, but she wanted none of it. She just wanted to wander in love for God. And I feel like some of that within me too.
Mm,
Like that's what I want to do. And yet, my karma is that I'm a householder and I have a family and
mm,
all of these things. But there's a part of me that yearns to just, as we've joked about, or let's meet in Rishikesh on Triveni Ghat and do a 40-day sadhu training and just all we're allowed to bring is a lungi and a begging bowl, and we're just going to wander up to the Himalayas and sing and just rejoice in that love for the divine. Our 200-hour, hey, if anybody's interested, this May
yeah.
we're leading a 200-hour sadhu training in Rishikesh. No, I'm kidding. So
Drop you off with the
yeah,
2 pieces of cloth,
2 pieces of cloth and a
a
begging bowl.
little baking bowl, and a staff.
And
And then
that's
we
it.
meet back every week for a check-in.
Then there's this
Let's
one
do
last
it.
thing that, jeez, the love everyone training. Should
I
we call it?
love everyone training. Oh my God. I was just, it was reminding me of when I first got into this practice, and, you know, I was freaking out, because I had been in the movie business and I'd had like kind of a career there, and I, figured out how to earn money, and I bought a house and had that whole kind of life and of materialism and everything. And then I started to get into spirituality, and then I discovered kirtan, and I started turning jobs down. My favorite my favorite job that I turned down was that I turned down a job to produce The Apprentice
Mm.
back in the day with Mr. Donald Trump.
Mm.
Um, and because I just realized it was all about greed, but it was because I was having these awakenings, that suddenly they were going to pay me more than I'd ever been paid on a job. And I was going to have all this like power and prestige. I was going to go to New York City and stay in a fancy hotel and do the whole thing. And I thought I can't do it because it's just all about greed. So I started turning jobs down, and next thing I know, my bank account is like drying up, and I was freaking out. I was having breakfast with a friend of mine who was tuned into the spiritual scene, and he said to me, well, Rob, and I was freaking out. I was telling him about how I was panicked that, I'd been just gotten married too. And I was like, well, how am I going to support my wife? And yada, yada. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I just want to sit on a cushion and sing to God.
Mm.
And so he started calling me Pillow Man after that.
That's just, that one's gonna stick, man.
Pillow Man. He started calling me Pillow Man. But that was it. That was me in my most honest moment. And it's still the truth. And if it really boils down to it, like when I go to India sometimes and you just get a few days in the ashram and all you have to do is like sit on a cushion and sing to God and have chai and have naps and take take food and prasad and then sing some more kirtan. I mean, I'm like in heaven. I am in heaven. And but of course, as you said, the karma of being a householder and having a wife and a dog and things to take care of, and um it for some reason that's where I landed.
Yeah.
And but when it really boils down to it,
Mm.
that's sounds so alluring
Mm.
to just
Mm.
take my shoes off and wander through the forests of Vrindavan
Mm.
and
Mm.
sing Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Oh my God.
Oh man. Good stuff, brother. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Well, should we start closing out?
Let's do it. Okay. So we're going to finish with just some closing prayers, and then we'll see you next time on episode 5. Thanks everybody for being here and tuning in today and taking your hit of LSD, the OG LSD, love, service, and devotion. And just remember, everybody, love everyone. That's all you got to do.
Mm.
All right. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
May all beings, including ourselves, be happy, be well, and be free from suffering. May all of my thoughts, may all of my words, and may all of my actions in some way contribute to that happiness, that well-being, and that freedom from suffering for all, including ourselves, including ourselves, including ourselves.
Love everyone, serve everyone, feed everyone, and remember God.
Jai Hanuman, Bolo Shri Sadgurudev Bhagwan Ki.
Jai.
Sankatamochan, Hanuman Ki.
Yay.
Thanks so much, brother. Always great to be together. I love these sessions.
For sure. Already looking forward to the next one. And Be well, everybody. Take it light. Take it easy.
Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you on the path. Lots of love. Ram Ram.
Ram Ram.